So today we're going to be starting to talk about the 1920s, and in US history they're often called the Roaring Twenties because of how much change is happening inside the United States at a really quick amount of time. So we're just going to do a little introduction to the 1920s today and start looking at one of the major changes that happens, and that is the passage of the 18th Amendment and the introduction of what we call prohibition. So that's what we're talking about. And then also for your assignment, you're going to be looking at the role of women and how that starts to change in the 1920s as well. So just a little reminder again, the 1920s are often called the Roaring Twenties because it's a time where political, economic change, and social change happened very quickly. So it's roaring because all of this old and new is kind of coming to a head, just like you might have a thunderstorm, where a thunderstorm is created because there is a warm air mass and a cold air mass, and they slam together and make that thunder. That's exactly what happens in the 20s. We kind of have a lot of old ideas and traditions clashing with all this new modern technology and modern social changes. And so we're going to see that clash. So that's why it's called the Roaring Twenties. So World War I has ended in 1920. It ends in 1918. And America and the rest of the public are dazed with all these new conveniences, things like cars and planes, electricity, vacuums, washing machines, toasters, radios in your home. All of these things start to take place in the 1920s. This is also a time where sports become really popular, especially with radios. People are able to listen to baseball games and boxing matches, and it becomes kind of like a household thing. It's not just the wealthy who get to pay attention to sports now. It's everyday people who get to as well. So this is really when America starts to become that modern America that we would really recognize, I think, by the 1920s. However, just like with any big movement where there's lots of change, there are some Americans who are worried that all these new changes are going to ruin the traditional values. They don't want all these new things. They want to go back to how it was before. And I'm sure you've heard people say that type of thing before. And that mindset is nothing new. It's something that really throughout all of history, sometimes people are nervous about change. In the 1920s, it all happened so fast that there's that clash. So what we're going to be talking about after you look at your Ed Puzzle, which is one of your assignments, that gives you a great introduction to lots of different changes that are happening in the 1920s. And so once you look at that, you'll have a better idea of some of the topics that we're going to be discussing. So the first topic that we're going to talk about, because it really happens first in the line of, the things we're talking about in the 1920s, is the 18th Amendment. So the 18th Amendment is what will be called the Prohibition Amendment, or sometimes also called the Volstead Act. But what this does is that it makes alcohol illegal in the United States, essentially. So this all started way back in the 1800s with something called a temperance movement. And people who believe in a temperance movement think that we should not have alcohol. And these people in this movement believe that alcohol led to crime, it led to child and wife abuse, it led to accidents. Basically, it was ruining society. So they got enough people to support them that Congress ends up adding an amendment to the Constitution, which, as we've talked about before, is a big deal. We've only ever had, as of 2020, 17 amendments since the first 10 that were added way back in the 1700s. So each time an amendment is added, it's a really big deal, and we've only ever had one repealed. And the one that we've had repealed is this one right here, which is the 18th Amendment. So the 18th Amendment passes in 1919, and it makes making alcohol, transporting alcohol, selling alcohol, and buying alcohol illegal. Interestingly enough, it doesn't make drinking alcohol illegal, but in order for you to get the alcohol into your body, I suppose you're doing one of these illegal activities. So that is what the 18th Amendment does. Now, a lot of Americans really weren't interested in the 18th Amendment. They were not willing to give up drinking alcohol, and so they just went ahead and did it anyway, and they went around and found ways to get alcohol illegally. Some went to underground or hidden saloons or bars. They were called speakeasies. They're called that because sometimes when people drink alcohol, they talk much easier than they would without drinking alcohol. That's why they're called speakeasies. And these were like hidden places. So you wouldn't just walk up into a speakeasy. You would have to know, the secret password literally, or you would need to know where it was hidden or in whose basement it was. And people continued drinking throughout the entire existence of Prohibition. And in order to give the people what they wanted, there was a huge rise in organized crime that happens. So this is when you get mobs and the mafia start to get really powerful in the United States, because they are the ones who are illegally getting the alcohol. They're the ones getting it, either having somebody make it for them, or they're transporting it in from Canada or from Latin America, maybe even Europe, and then selling it and distributing it inside the United States. Kind of like where there's a will, there's a way. This is very similar to like the drug trade today, where you have cartels or gangs that are very powerful, and they're the ones who are responsible and get super wealthy and powerful off of selling illegal drugs to Americans. But now we see, but back then, we see that happening with alcohol. And that really starts because of Prohibition. That's what allows the mafia and mobs to get such power and wealth. So this goes on for a couple years, about a decade, and eventually the government is really responsible for ending Prohibition, because they did not give enough money to enforcing this law. Because you can make anything a law, but if you don't enforce it and have consequences for breaking the law, then nobody's going to follow it. And that's exactly what happened. For the entire United States, the government only gave 1,500 police officers the job of enforcing the law for the entire country. So they didn't really give enough support for this. They didn't give enough funding for this. And so it was really, it was not enforceable. On top of it was, we're going to find out, during the 1930s, we start to have a very bad economic depression. A lot of people lose their job and so on, and people are just kind of done with this social experiment, as if some people do call it, to get rid of alcohol. So in 1933, just 14 years after it passes, it is repealed, and it is repealed with the 21st Amendment. It is the only amendment that is repealed that we've had so far. So 2 amendments have to do with the prohibition and then repeal of alcohol. And it's really because not only the government wasn't able to support it, most Americans didn't support it. I mean, by the mid-1920s, just 5 years after it was created, only 19% of Americans thought it was a good idea. And a lot of people felt that prohibition caused more problems than it solved, because it created such a rise of organized crime. Now, for that organized crime, people like Al Capone and Lucky Luciano and all those guys, they end up having, when alcohol becomes legal, they have to figure out another way to continue to make their money. And that's when these crimes and these organized crime mobs start turning to other illegal drugs like opioids and other things that they will then start selling to Americans. And we still see effects of that today. So that is Prohibition in a nutshell. And that is one of the first major social changes that happens during the 1920s. So the next one that you guys are going to look at is about women and how their role really starts to change in the 1920s and becomes more of what we recognize as a role of women in our society today. So for your assignment, you are going to, if you have not done the 1920s Ed Puzzle, please do that. Then you're going to complete the 1920s Women, which is on a PowerPoint, but it has some links and some images that you're going to answer some questions about. So let me take you there so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so we are in our week of November 30th folder, and you can see your 2 assignments, like I said, Roaring 1920s Ed Puzzle and 1920s Women. And here's our Ed Puzzle, and here is the 1920s Women. So this is on a PowerPoint. It's a normal Miss Morris assignment E. There's no big question. You're welcome. But it does have you just look at it a little different way. So you're going to be looking through. Some of these have a reading here. Some of these have a link that you're going to use to help you. So you just click on and open the link for anything that looks like it should be a link, and so forth. One has a political cartoon that you're going to analyze. So just different ways that you're going to look at how women, how their role changed in the 1920s. And then we're going to go more in depth in it. We have our class together later this week. So I hope you guys take the time to work on this. Let me know if you have any other questions. And otherwise, I will see you later on this week.